Good afternoon and welcome to Stratford, just down the road from the Copper Box, where on Saturday night Conor Benn will risk his unbeaten record against Samuel Vargas. Adam Smith is with me now. Adam, I'm going to come straight to you. Conor Benn, I think, has surprised so many people because of his rapid rise. Sebastian Formella last time out was supposed to be an acid test. He passed it with flying colours. Samuel Vargas, same sort of thing. It's an acid test. I wonder how many of these we're going to have. But how excited are you for this? What sort of feel have you got for it? You've just been let out of your quarantine from your COVID test, so you're soaking it up now. What's your feelings?
Yeah, it's nice to be out, isn't it, Andy? In a different bubble as well. But yeah, Conor Benn has been a fantastic addition to the fight scene over the last 3 or 4 years. But I think particularly in the last sort of year and a half, he's really come into to his own. I think that he's had a lot of pressure on his shoulders, with the name, with the expectation, and I think early doors he didn't quite know sort of how to deal with that. And I think there was some exciting performances, but also some patchy performances. And I think the Cedric Peno fight told us a lot when he got floored and maybe lucky to get away with that night. He got revenge on Peno, and then since then he's sort of moved, I think, onto another level. Sebastian Formella was the right fight at the right time for him. I thought he performed brilliantly. I'm almost glad he didn't get Formella out of there. I thought he showed a great jab. I thought he showed real class at times, as well as obvious the tenacity and the engine and the deep down sort of firepower he has. I think he's learning. I think he's improving under Tony Sims. I think this is, again, the right fight at the right time. You say about acid tests, I think they're just very good educational tests as he moves towards the fringe sort of area of world level. Obviously, it's a huge domestic division, we know. He was in the studio with us for the Josh Kelly night, spoke really well. There's so many fights out there for Conor, but he can't look past Samuel Vargas. Vargas is dangerous. Vargas is experienced. We know what he can do. He came over, he shook up Amir Khan, he shared a ring with the likes of Errol Spence and many top names. And I think that he will prove a tough obstacle on Saturday night. It'll be really interesting to see how Conor deals with him.
One of the things he said to us yesterday, which was probably the most telling thing, he said that he sees doubt in Conor Benn, that Conor Benn has to reinforce his own confidence by keep reiterating things, by building himself up. I don't know if that's just a little bit of sort of reverse psychology to try and build himself up. But Conor Benn, he's very difficult to pick holes in what he's done because his rise has been so rapid. I don't know if you would concede that even you have been surprised. I think we all have been surprised. Maybe not that he's got there, but he's got there so quick.
Absolutely. I mean, I remember when he came onto the ringside set when we did a special with his dad a few years ago. I think he was about 16 at the time, and he was. We had a sort of small audience, and he was in the ring, the ringside ring, and they had a bit of banter between the two of them. And you thought then, you just wondered, sort of, is this serious? Is this guy going to become a fighter? And he could have gone and lived in Australia with his dad. He could have taken a very different career path. Interestingly, he's got a son now. Eli, and I think he's gone on record this week saying he doesn't want him to become a boxer. He'd much rather he went down the city route or something else, because it's tough, and Conor didn't have to do it, which is why I've got a lot of time for him. I've got a lot of respect for him because he works so hard. He's so dedicated. He's lived on his own at times. He's trained so hard in that Tony Sims setup, and I think that that's all credit to him. A lot of people have said he's never going to do anything. He's not going to become a world champion. He's nowhere near as good as his dad. You know what? For him, he's doing just fine. And if he can prove a lot of critics wrong and go and fight for a world title, even win one day, that would be just amazing if he can do that. It's difficult to compare him to his dad, to another era, to another weight. It's very, very hard. What I like is that Nigel stays away. He sort of advises them from distance, and that Tony and Eddie guide him. They've got their way of moving the Conor Benn journey forward. But people like him. He says it as it is. He's real, he's intense, he's got the characteristics of his dad as well. Sometimes you shut your eyes and you think, oh my God, there is Nigel. It is, but he's his own man. And I like that. I like what he's doing. He's not saying he's the best. He's not saying he's the greatest. He's just getting on with it, and he's beating who they put in front of him. And that's great form.
How do we gauge this fight? Because, like you said, Vargas has been in with some terrific names. Errol Spence, Danny Garcia, Luis Collazo, Amir Khan.
And he gave Collazo a good
fight.
fight.
Split decision, I think it was, that he lost. The one thing that you'd say from those fights are that he lost them all. So his career was boosted in defeat, but in those fights he was always in the fights. What can we expect when the first bell rings? You would think that Conor Benn isn't going to have to go looking for him, but at the same time, we saw that Vargas can punch. He had Amir Khan down heavy. Yeah, I think it was in the second round there.
Ran out of time, didn't he?
Yeah, so what should we be looking for from Conor Benn and Samuel Vargas once the first bell rings?
I mean, Samuel Vargas has had a tough journey himself, from Colombia, being brought up in Canada. He's won NABF titles. He's been a sort of bit of a star there. And when he's stepped up to the top level, he's been found wanting at times, but he's always put great performances in, as you've said. He'll look at Conor Benn and think, listen, I've done much more than you have.
He said yesterday he doesn't do anything that I haven't seen before.
Absolutely, and that may be true, but it's a test for him, because Conor Benn is a young, hungry fighter on his way up. Now, Vargas says he's had a fantastic camp. He's going to take him to places he's never been before. He's got to back that up. What we do know about Vargas is he can punch. He's very, very experienced, and if he is in the shape that he says he's in, it's going to be a very interesting fight. But you've got to think that Conor, the way he's going and the momentum that's building behind him and the improvement that he's made, should be able to step up to this plate, I think.
The chief support, delighted to say, stays on the bill. Savannah Marshall had a pull-out on fight week. There is a late replacement in Maria Lindberg. Savannah and Peter Fury are here. She said she's just relieved that the fight still goes ahead. One of the breakout performances of last year, of the pandemic, would you say, against Hannah Rankin for Savannah Marshall?
Arguably the performance since the pandemic started. I thought it was absolutely superb. The display that she gave us against Hannah Rankin, who was heavily fancied beforehand. Hannah with the professional experience, Savannah obviously with the terrific amateur resume, the win over Clarissa Shields, the Commonwealth Games gold, the Olympic experience and all of that. And of course, a former Sky Scholar, we know Savannah well. There's always been a question mark about her mental belief and her confidence, never about her talent. And I think what it showed us under Peter Fury, who's the perfect guide, the perfect tutor, the perfect guide to have around Savannah. I think what we saw in those first couple of rounds is she didn't come out nervous, she came out assured. She came out assured against Hannah Rankin. And then once she'd had a couple of rounds inside her, then she went for it, and you could really see what she could do. And on that performance, I'll tell you what, Clarissa Shields is going to be looking. She's got a win over her, the only win ever, amateur or pro, over Clarissa Shields by Savannah Marshall. Listen, she's got to put a good performance on again on Saturday night. Late change of opponent, always tricky. But I'm telling you what, she is one talented young woman, Savannah Marshall. Always believed in her. Now the confidence, and if that's kicked in, I tell you, she's going to be reigning for some time, Andy.
Adam, I'm just going to ask you to come step to one side. I don't think we're too far away from starting. In fact, Adam, just in true live TV, I'm going to ask you to step back in. I've just got a signal. It's going to be another 2 minutes. Just getting your step count up for the day. Welcome back. I did see on the stage, this is Nick Campbell just making his way onto the stage.
Great story.
Yes, I just want to sort of give him a little bit of lip service before he starts. We haven't had a chance to catch up with him yet. Former rugby player, professional rugby player, achieved everything he wanted to achieve in the rugby world, turns over as a pro. Exciting times ahead for him.
Different size to Go in price, but a very similar story. Go, who's done that in the darts world, to go from being a rugby player to becoming, the #1 world darts player is absolutely fantastic. And now let's see if this fella can do it in boxing.
Yeah, let's get over to promoter Eddie Hearn, who, as you can see, is on the stage with both fighters. And let's hear from both guys now.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks, everyone tuning in. We're here back in London after a whirlwind global tour that continues. Of course, 2 weeks ago, we were in sunny Gibraltar for the incredible event with Dillian Whyte against Alexander Povetkin. Last weekend in Uzbekistan for a thrilling night, over 10,000 people in attendance there to watch the homecoming heroes, of course, Mirjan Akhmadaliev defending his unified super bantamweight championship. Back in London for a huge card this Saturday, live on Sky Sports in the UK and DAZN around the world. Conor Benn returns against the fantastic Samuel Vargas in what should be a thrilling fight. 2 women's world championship fights on the card as well. Savannah Marshall against Maria Lindberg, and of course Shannon Courtenay against Ebanie Bridges for the WBA bantamweight title. We've got a huge card to talk about here. Of course, when we leave here this week, next week, we have the World Middleweight Championship in Miami between Demetrius Andrade and Liam Williams. Great card there. Then we're in Barcelona, 2 Brits going for the European Championship. And then the huge card on May the 1st, of course, Chisora Parker, Katie Taylor against Jonas, Chris Eubank Jr. against Marcus Morrison, Dimitri Bivol against Craig Richards, Scott Fitzgerald, Campbell Hatton on the card. And then the small matter of 70,000 people at the fantastic Dallas Cowboys Stadium for Canelo against Billy Joe Saunders unification. And then back for a May 15th show in the UK that will be announced next week. Just a little few things coming up for you. But firstly, we head our attention to this card and kick the card. We have Campbell against Frolic in the heavyweight division. Nick Campbell making his professional debut, coming from the rugby background. My first question to you is, are you absolutely mad? I mean, sometimes I watch these rugby players and think you must be mad to play that game. But this is not a game. This is tough. You're here, you're ready to start your professional journey on Saturday night.
No, definitely. No, definitely. I mean, I suppose you do need to be mad to get into boxing, but I love it. I've loved the sport since a young age, so it just felt like the right thing for me to do at the time. Give up rugby and have a go at boxing. Here we are. So no better stage to make your debut, and I'm buzzing for it. I can't wait.
Hugely successful on a rugby pitch as well. Jersey Reds, Glasgow Warriors, etc. But different kind of challenge here as well. Rugby, of course, extremely tough game, but this is a tough sport. You're entering the most glamorous, probably most toughest of all divisions, the heavyweight division. Mark Dunlop has not left me alone about you. I'm sure he's here somewhere in the room, but you know, everyone very impressed with the sparring behind closed doors. Mm-hmm. You feel like you're ready to burst onto this domestic scene. And let's be honest, Scotland hasn't been blessed with bundles and bundles of great heavyweight talent. Massive opportunity for you up there to become a star as well.
No, definitely. I mean, Scotland's famous for the lighter weights. We've obviously got Josh Taylor. We've got, you know, Cash Farooq fighting on this card with me at the weekend. But there's never really been a good heavyweight. So there's a void there, one that I want to try and fill. You know, I'm buzzing. My rugby background is going to, you know, help me with stuff like this. You know, a bit of pressure, but take it in your stride. Use the pressure to perform and put on a good show on Saturday night and kind of show that I'm here to make a statement, here to get involved.
Do you think that you have to earn the respect to the fight game a little bit more coming from a different kind of discipline? You know, I think some people sometimes feel that it's a bit of a gimmicky. You know, you've seen footballers trying to make it as pros. You see Flintoff have a fight, you know, and this for you is obviously much more serious than a one-night thing. But do you just think that some people look at you as, oh, this rugby player that's looking to turn pro, or it doesn't concern you, you're just going to do your thing?
Really doesn't concern me, to be honest. You know, I got into this 4 years ago. I went through the amateur setup. You know, been down in Sheffield, sparring lads in the GB squad, been over the world with Scotland. Always tested myself, chucked myself in at the deep end. See how I went, and I done all right. So, as far as I'm concerned, the only way is up. And anybody who doubts me is just more fuel at my fire. So brilliant.
Mr. Frolic, opportunity for you on Saturday night. We know you spend your career chasing the top heavyweights around and giving them rounds. You ready for Saturday night?
Thank you for change. In London in boxing, I really hope.
It's good so far. Keep going, because we had something like this the other week, but this is better. Keep going, keep going. I mean, we got a little translator there. If you want to speak in your native tongue, it's not a problem.
I don't know speak small.
You can speak in Czech. We'll just make it up anyway. Speak in Czech.
Česky?
Yes, no problem.
No, děkuju tady, že jsem v Londýně dostal takovou příležitost zaboxovat si takovým soupeřem v těžké váze. A díky tomu, že to je koronavirus, tak jsem rád po takové dlouhé době si vůbec můžu zaboxovat.
Yeah, I'm so pleased and grateful for this opportunity to fight here in London, particularly given the current climate. I'm going to give my best and I'll show what a quality boxer I am.
I think you missed a bit. He said he's going to knock you spark out. Just so that you know as well. No, seriously. Thank you. Nick, finally, you spent a long time going around sparring all these guys. Tell us some of those names that I believe you've done rounds with Lawrence Okoli, a lot of the boys that the GB set up as well.
I sparred Big Solomon, who's just turned pro with yourself. I sparred Delicious Ori, Courtney Bennett, Mark Bacoli. Over in Ireland, I've been sparring Tommy McCarthy, I've been sparring Niall Kennedy, Paddy Nevin, Thomas Carty, lad that's just turned pro as well. So, I feel confident in what I've done in the past couple of months and putting in. I'm ready to perform on Saturday night and show it.
Good stuff, mate. Well, I know the rugby community will be tuned in, but for you, the boxing journey starts on Saturday night. So good luck. Gentlemen, if we can have a head-to-head up here, please.
It is unique that two people that excelled in one sport would go on and excel in another. That is quite a nice story, and I'm sure that you want to sort of follow in his footsteps. Became king of the darts world. I'm sure you want to become king of the Scottish heavyweight boxing scene.
100%. You know, look at what he's done. He's achieved. He's the world champion now, and I bet everybody laughed at him when he told them he was giving up rugby to have a go at darts. So that's my goal. Everybody that's laughing now hopefully won't be in a couple of years' time.
No. Go well. I hope you enjoy the whole night and the whole experience.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Adam Smith, while we're waiting for the next one to come through. Speaks well. Very impressive young man. I say young, he's 31, but young as a heavyweight.
Absolutely, speaks well, looks good, mates with Gowen Price. We were saying just before he got up there, you know, Gowen's been fantastic for the darts world, you know, to excel in one sport and just to totally change and go into another one. And he's right, you know, people laughed at Gowen Price at the beginning and they were like, you know, come on, you know, look at him, he doesn't even look like a darts player, do you know what I mean? And he's been absolutely fantastic. He's been a breath of fresh air, he's been terrific up on the hockey. Now, this boxing is a very, very different sport, but look, he's played rugby to a top level. He's obviously got a lot of boxing in his blood, in the genes, and he's been sparring with top people. Let's see how he goes on. Professional debut. There'll be a long journey ahead, but let's baby steps at the beginning.
Thanks, guys. We go to another young protege looking to make his name in the sport after a very difficult professional debut at the back end of last year. John Hedges against Stanko Jermalic. Welcome both guys to the stage. John, mate, last time, I got to say, even Sam Jones, you know, we took a fight that probably we shouldn't have taken. It was a really, really tough fight, you know, in with a southpaw, 2 days notice. Again, tricky opponent that came to win, but I promise you, you would have learnt so much from that opportunity. You've gone away, you've worked hard under Mark Tibbs, you're ready for fight number 2 on Saturday.
Yeah, most definitely, Eddie. It was a hard debut, but looking back at it now, I probably couldn't have asked for no better. It's prepared me for what's to come in the future. Taking a southpaw on a couple of days' notice was probably a thing what maybe I shouldn't have done, but I'm glad I did. We got the win, and we push on now for my second fight, and I'm looking to shine.
What did you learn from that fight? Obviously, you got an illustrious amateur career as well, but moving to the pro game, we know you're a baby really in that pro game, especially when you're facing someone that's coming to win, strong man that you're facing there. Has that been part of your preparation for this fight, taking the time to become stronger, to mature a little bit more? And tell us a little bit about your work with Mark Tibbs as well.
Yeah, definitely. I've trained hard. I've had the class sparring. I've sparred some great names, sparred British champions, all at light heavy. So yeah, I had real good sparring. I trained hard, been around good boys, putting everything in. Mark's been away, but I've had a few weeks with him. But me, Stephen Andrews, Mark Tibbs, Jimmy Tibbs, Ian, all been down there doing the job and putting the work in, so making sure I can have a good performance this time. Yeah,
Mark Tibbs away, of course, with Billy Joe Saunders, preparing for his big unification fight, but it's a bit of a gym down there that they're building, isn't it? I mean, Daniel Dubois joined recently, of course, Johnny Fisher down there as well, got some good kids and a good atmosphere down there right now. Yeah, it's proper down there. It's a proper Essex gym. We're having it down there. It's lively, so... yeah, I can't knock it. It's a proper gym, Ed, and I'm enjoying it down there. I'm really enjoying being in good company and training hard. Stanko, welcome. We know that you spend your career fighting all these top young prospects. Another great prospect, a young man though, and you're ready for Saturday night.
Yeah, thank you, Eddie, for having me. And I have a good training camp, and I feel I'm ready for him. I have watched debut fight with John. And I feeling I'm ready for him.
Good. Well, we look forward to your challenge on Saturday. Finally,
thanks,
John, on Saturday. You feel you need to make a little bit of a statement? I know it's hard to say in your second fight, but you know your last fight was a close one. I guess the doubters out there will say, is he the real deal that Eddie and Sam says he is? You looking to put in a sharp performance on Saturday? Yeah, definitely. I'm trying to take the pressure off myself. I don't want to swallow out on it, but I'm ready to go. Do you know what I mean? I put the work in. And now it's time for me to like this is the fun part. Do you know what I mean? I want to go out and shine and prove to people what I know I can be and what I've done before. So yeah, it's ready to go now. We look forward to seeing your second fight this Saturday. Hedges against Germany. Gentlemen, if we could have a head-to-head up here, please.
Okay, gentleman John Hedges is just going to join us very briefly. John, just on that mark on the floor there, great to see you again. I just feel like we shouldn't judge people on pro debuts just because they're a free hit in a number of ways. People are going to judge you on your pro debut though, and I know you're your own harshest critic. What do you think that you could have done better? What have you gone away and worked on particularly? I know you don't want to give too much away, but put a bit more meat on the bones for us if you can.
Yeah, I've just been in the gym working hard. I'm young. There's a lot of developing for me to do. But I know that, do you know what I mean? So I'm in there and I'm putting the work in, getting stronger, getting fitter. I've moved up to light heavy because I believe it's the right decision for me. And yeah, I'm training hard. That's the main thing. I can't thank my coaches enough. We've gone back, looked at the performance. There's not loads we could have took. It was down to the opponent basically on 2 days and things were changed. But no excuses. I've had it hard, so I'm glad I have. And now we're going to go in there Saturday nice and confident and go and perform.
I think one of the things that, if you don't mind me saying, that there was the commentators picked up on is you are giant for this weight, 6'5", 77-inch reach, probably longer. Did you feel that perhaps you could have used your physical attributes a little bit better? You've obviously got a huge boxing IQ and boxed all over the world as a junior amateur, but could have perhaps used your physical advantages to your advantage?
Most definitely, yeah, exactly what they were saying there. I didn't use my size enough, and that's one thing I've been given, blessed by God, I've been this size, do you know what I mean? So I've got to go use it, and I'm more confident at using it this time. I'm a lot more steady, a lot more capable, and I can't wait to go do it.
Great to have you back. Go well on Saturday, thank you. Adam Smith, that was a baptism of fire for John Hedges last time out, and let's not beat around the bush. Some people online felt that he was lucky to get that decision, but I do hark back onto that point. Pro debuts don't don't judge people on their pro debut and form an opinion on it. I know that's all we've got to go on, but they're hard pro debuts, aren't they?
Andy, we always get excited about pro debuts. We want them to shine and everything. He didn't. Let's be honest. It was a very, very tough fight, which could have gone either way. But I like his attitude. I like the fact he's gone back to the gym. He's got a great team around him, and I think that don't judge him on his first performance. Let's see what he has learned from it.
This is
Thanks,
a
Adam.
cracking fight. Cannot wait for this fight. In my opinion, one of the brightest young stars in world boxing, not just in the bantamweight division. Cash Farooq taking on Alexander Espinoza. This time, interestingly, it's Espinoza v Farooq, Cash, because you are the challenger in this fight, facing a champion. This is a real fight. You know, anytime you see a man make the distance and the travel up that he's done this week, especially when he comes to the press conference with his belt as well, this is not a guy that's come as a challenger. This is not a guy who's come as a journeyman. This is a guy who's defending his honour, defending his belt, defending his rankings. This is a big fight for you.
Yeah, 100% it is, but I've been preparing. I know what to expect on the night, and I'm really confident putting a good performance on, getting the win, and and he's gonna bring it, but it's gonna give me opportunities to look good.
When you reflect back on your performance last year, great performance, a lot of people talking about it. Of course, it was extremely frustrating with pullouts and COVID in the team, etc. But was you as pleased with your performance as everybody else was when you look back at that? It was something that a lot of people were talking about.
Yeah, I was pleased, but there's always room for improvements. I went back and I took a couple of days off. I was back in the gym, and I've been training right through Christmas, New Year, my birthday, and that's it. We've had a real cold winter up in Glasgow this year as well. So, but it was a good performance. But for me, I want to get improved every fight. I want to get better and better, and this is another fight where I'm going to showcase my skills and look good again.
Last time out, your opponent, he came with ambition, but he quickly realised he was well out of his depth and probably went back into his shell a little bit more than this gentleman. These are the kind of fights that you need, people that are going to come to win, people that are going to be aggressive and going to really test you. As you look, quite frankly, I look at it now and say, we need to be looking at world title shots at the back end of this year. This is going to be a good measuring stick to tell us where we're at. Yeah,
100%. The last one, obviously, he came out the first 2 rounds, try to think, but obviously he went in a shell after a few rounds, but I think he'll be there all night, obviously, but that's going to make me look even good, and it's going to give me opportunities, where I didn't get in the last fight. And, I just expect a good performance off me. And, never say never. Might get surprised,
Espinoza Campion, welcome to London. I know via your translator over there. We know you're here to win. We know you're here as champion. You're ready for a big fight on Saturday.
Sí, bienvenido, campeón, obviamente. Bienvenido a Londres. Sabemos que eres el campeón y vienes, supongo, a ganar, ¿no? El sábado.
Claro que sí, yo vengo a hacer lo mío. Estoy muy agradecido por representar Nicaragua. En mi país hay campeones y yo vengo a demostrar también de que yo soy un buen campeón. Y todas las cosas que vayan a pasar, que sean por bien.
Yes, well, thank you for the opportunity first and foremost. We know there are some great champions from Nicaragua, and you'll see another one coming here on Saturday night.
Obviously, this fight, this TV platform is a massive opportunity for you. I know you're champion, but a victory would be huge for your career on Saturday.
Sí, obviamente se verá la pelea en televisión, es una gran oportunidad para ti, pero oportunidad también de lanzar tu carrera boxística, ¿no? El sábado.
Así es. Quiero seguir reteniendo mi corona internacional así mismo. Me consigan una pelea de título mundial, ya sea con cualquier campeón, con cualquier otra persona, la cual tenga un título, y yo seré creador de ese título.
Yes, so I believe very much in myself, and I'm looking forward to retaining my international crown. I believe I can fight anyone at world level, and I can go on to win a world title myself.
And finally, as a proud Nicaraguan, do you believe that Chocolatito won that fight against Estrada last month?
Sí, como un nicaragüense orgulloso, ¿tú crees que le ganó esa pelea? Había ganado Chocolatito, ¿no?
Además de ser, no solamente por ser nicaragüense, Chocolatito sí la ganó esa pelea.
Not just because I'm from Nicaragua, but he definitely won that fight.
Well, hopefully we can see number 3. Good luck to you, Cash Farooq. Cracking fight on Saturday night, the WBC International Bantamweight Championship. Don't miss this one. Gentlemen, up here for a head-to-head, please.
Okay, Cash Farooq is going to go to our colleagues at Matchroom. Alexander is going to join us here. Alexander, just on that mark on the floor there, Kieran Simpson is going to help us translate as per normal. Alexander, welcome to the UK. Cash Farooq is known as one of our sort of slicker boxers, very elusive character. How do you beat him, and how key is it to stay patient in this fight and wait for your opportunities?
Sí, Cash Farooq es un peleador aquí que vemos como mucha habilidad, es muy difícil pegarle. Supongo que tendrás que tener mucha paciencia en la pelea. ¿Y cómo crees que puedes avanzar en esta pelea?
No, bueno, yo tengo mi experiencia desde el amateur, me he encontrado con diferentes tipos de boxeadores, asimismo he sabido actuar y asimismo me sé desarrollar en el ring. Como puedo boxear, puedo fajarme en el ring y no solamente voy a presentar una técnica de boxeo, sino voy a presentar muchas técnicas de boxeo y tengo mis cualidades también en el cuadrilátero.
Yes, so I have some great experience, not just in a professional sense, but also as an amateur. So I've boxed against very many different boxers with different styles. So now to develop my style through the ring and things change in the fight, I can adapt to different fighters. So I've got no problems in that sense.
I can only imagine the culture shock that you're having here. I mean, the weather is freezing at the moment. How are you coping with everything in this bubble that is probably quite alien to you?
No puedo imaginar qué tan diferente es estar aquí en la burbuja. Está muriendo de frío, mucho frío aquí. ¿Qué tan diferente, cómo estás adaptando a este nuevo estilo de boxear, digamos?
Bueno, yo me adapto fácilmente a cualquier ambiente, solamente estando unos días. Me recuerdo cuando fui a Sochi, Rusia, peleé con Mikhail Aloyan, un olímpico, y iba con todas mis condiciones y ahí hacía mucho más frío, estábamos a menos 11 y no me hizo nada, no, creo que lo supe y en el frío me desarrollo mejor boxísticamente.
So I think I'm actually better when it's cold. I'm able to adapt quite quickly, and I only need a couple of days. For example, I fought in Sochi against Aroyan for an Olympic contest, and it was minus 11 degrees there. So I'm able to develop and adapt, and if anything, I'm better boxing when it's cold.
Finally, will you give us a prediction for the fight on Saturday?
¿Nos puede dar un pronóstico para la pelea el sábado?
Bueno, no puedo decir que lo voy a noquear porque es un boxeador bastante movible y un boxeador bastante bueno, pero sí voy a dar mi mejor técnica para ganarle ampliamente.
So I'm not going to say I'm going to knock him out because he's a great fighter. He moves really well around the ring, but I will put in my technique into practice, and I'll win convincingly.
Alexander, thank you very much. Good luck, and Kieran, thank you as always for your very, very good translation.
Muy buena suerte para la pelea.
Thank you. Adam, if you could just step in, Eddie Hearn just caught his eye there. It's a good fight, that. We are very impressed with what we've seen from Cash Farooq so far, though, in terms of skill set, elusiveness. If you clipped up a highlight video, it would go viral. He's got some serious skills. This is a tough test, though, on paper.
Beautiful boxer, Cash Farooq, and I thought he really showed us plenty last time, didn't he, after a long delay, and he's so dedicated to the sport. I think he's a real talent. He's got everything. Not sure how hard he hits, but this is a tough test. I mean, it's a really good fight. I agree with Eddie. I think it's a good measuring stick to see whether Cash can go on and fight for world titles.
Put your seatbelt on. This could be fiery. I was going to ask you to set this one up, but we're not going to have time. Let's go over to Eddie Hearn. It's the first world title fight on the card. It's Courtney Bridges. There's been a lengthy backstory with chopping and changing of opponents for this one, but finally, I don't want to jinx it, but we're here.
Here we go, the vacant WBA World Bantamweight Championship. I cannot wait for this fight. I can't tell you how many different versions of this belt we've had. Of course, last year, after Rachel Ball beat Shannon, Ebanie Bridges was going to fight Rachel Ball. Ebanie got injured. Then we made the Rachel Ball-Shannon Courtenay fight. Rachel Ball got COVID. Ebanie Bridges stepped in after a recent win in Australia. The phone call came just 3 or 4 weeks' notice and said, I'm ready. Let's do it. She went to America for training camp and for Shannon. Been stuck in some hotel somewhere in Surrey. I see on your social media. Grafting away. Shannon, I'll start with you. Massive opportunity for you. This fight has got a huge amount of coverage. The hype has been fantastic. Whether you like it, I don't care because I like it. But most importantly for you, you know this is your opportunity to become a world champion on Saturday.
Yeah, this is more than just a fight. This is an opportunity for me to change my entire life, to change my family's life. This is the reason I got into boxing, and I'm excited to achieve my dream Saturday night.
We know that you're a very passionate person. I think maybe volatile is a word, that you might be all right with me using. I don't know. I'll stick with
You've said
passionate.
it now,
Okay,
so.
yeah. Is it the mind games going on here? Is it? Do you think Ebanie's trying to get under your skin at all, or you two just don't particularly see eye to eye? Is it going to be hugs and whatever happens on Saturday night?
We just obviously have very different opinions when it comes to fighting. She's more talking about the weigh-in, and all I care about is the fight. I'm a fight fan, so this, to me, this is a world title fight. Why are we not talking about the fact this is a world title fight? This is a fantastic fight. She's an exciting fighter. She's aggressive. She comes forward. I'm aggressive. I come forward. Our styles are going to mix. So let's talk about the fight. No, there's nothing else to discuss.
Well, I'll come back to you, Ebanie. Welcome. Good to see you here. A lot of talk. You do things very differently.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, there's a lot of people saying that, you know, you talked your way into getting this opportunity. You are an undefeated fighter.
Yeah.
You're coming through the system. You've looked very good so far. Maybe it's a little bit early for you. Maybe it's a little bit early for Shannon as well. But you put yourself out there in a way to become recognised, to become noticed, and quite frankly, it's worked.
Yeah.
You get your shot at a world title on Saturday.
Yeah, so it's obviously the same way that I've got noticed is how I'm getting this fight noticed. You know what I mean? Because I just feel like women's boxing does need more eyes on the sport, and we need to do whatever we can. And I really, truly believe that the reason this fight has got so much talk about it is because of me, is because of maybe the different approach that I go to things, is because I'm bringing in a different personality, I'm bringing in a different look. It's something different, and I just think that that's what's helping getting the eyes on the sports and getting the talk on the sports and building it. And for me, what does matter is what happens in the ring. That's all that matters, what happens in the ring. But if we can get as much people as we can to watch that fight, then me and Shannon, because we are great fighters, can actually show to more people, because we've got more interest from a much diverse, viewers, that, hey, women can fight, you know? So that's my goal. My goal is just to get the views, get the people watching. Once they watch, me and Shannon are going to put on that show, and we're going to prove that women's boxing is exciting, and not just the fights, but everything about it. You know, we can do a build-up, we can make it exciting, we can make people get invested in the whole journey, you know? So I think that's my angle, and that's why I'm going about it, and I think it's working because I feel like we've stolen the show.
We know that, you know, that's your image and that's what you do. How do you feel about or respond to, you know, female fighters say, oh, you know, we don't need to do that, we don't need to portray ourselves that way? I know that beneath that is someone who wants to win this world title so badly, someone that studies boxing, someone that loves boxing, and that's really what does matter to you deep down in this fight.
Yeah, oh, definitely. You know, like I've been fighting, I've been into martial arts since I was 5. You know, I haven't been a boxing fan for just 6 years or 5 years or, you know, however long I've been boxing. I was a boxing fan well before I even started boxing. You know, I've been in combat sports my whole life. You can ask me anything about boxing, I probably know more than most people. So, you know, for me, obviously, the boxing part is very important to me, but I just feel like we need to get more views on women's boxing. And I'm willing to do whatever it takes to get that, you know what I mean? Because then we can prove it. And I think winning this world title and, me winning this world title will just show that, hey, you know, like, you don't have to be like everyone else to be able to achieve these kind of goals. So that's what I'm going for.
Obviously, there has been a lot of backwards and forwards.
Yeah.
You want to punch her in the face, she wants to punch you
we're
in the
boxing,
face.
right?
Yeah, of course, exactly.
I don't want to punch her in the face.
Is there animosity from you? I mean, is it edgy, or is it part of the show? I mean, I know you want to win on Saturday, but...
You know, I go in there, my goal is, like, I'm a savage, you know what I mean? Like, I want to go in and fuck that shit up, sorry. But, like, I mean, I'm not here to play around. I'm not here to F spiders. I'm here to get the job done, you know? And I don't play around in boxing. Like, when I fight, I'm there to hurt you, you know? I might look the way I look, but I can't wait to get in that ring and to show you guys, like, how I fight. And that's, like, the more people that I can get watching and tuning in to see the bomber, and this is my opportunity on this mad platform, like, you know, I couldn't have asked for a better platform to do it, then I'm gonna do whatever I can.
Shannon asked you as well, are you excited to punch her in the face or anybody in the face? Is there a little bit of a personal thing for you here, or is it just business?
No, I'm just excited to fight. I can understand why she's saying she wants to get more eyes on the sport, but you're saying you want to get more viewers. I want more viewers for the correct reasons. People like Katie Taylor didn't work her backside off to pave the way for women like me and you to be in this position. Talk about underwear. I've got a 14-year-old sister. My coaches have daughters. I've got a goddaughter. I want to be a good role model. I want to show hard work and dedication is what gets you here, not flaunting your body. Well, that's my only problem with this.
Well, you're the one that first brought up the whole thing about me getting naked, so you kind of started it. with talking about me getting nude and, you know, if I want to do laundry somewhere else. So, you know, like you started talking about it. I was just doing it. You were the one judging at the start. So, I mean, realistically, it started.
Let's get it right. You're saying I'm judging. You're the one who's made a judgment because I got on the scales a few fights ago and I didn't. I'm here to fight. I don't care what I look like.
That was in a retaliation to you calling me naked because I'm wearing underwear that doesn't look like your underwear.
I didn't know who you was until you started tweeting about me and about what I'm wearing on the scales. Who cares?
Oh my God. All right, whatever's in your head, that's cool, man. Because I can tell.
There's one thing in my head, and that's that belt. Because you're coming home with me Saturday night.
All right, girl. I can tell because you tweet things, and it's so like you're your biggest hypocrite. So I don't think you see what you're doing or see what you're saying because you can't see it. But that's okay because, you know, that's you and I'm cool. And everyone else can see it. And that's why 80% of the British want me to knock you out.
We'll see about
that. There's only 2 reasons why people are tuning into this fight. To see the Blonde Bomber fight and to see you get knocked out.
Okay, well, not going to happen. Not going to happen, so...
Can you do that, Ebony? Do you think you can take her out? I mean, both of you got tremendous, you know, fighting styles. Again, I'll go back to the fact that you are both inexperienced in the pro game, really. I mean, you know, Shannon, you've got more experience. You've suffered a defeat, which you've come back from so well, but... I feel like this fight's going to catch fire from the first bell because ultimately you got 20 minutes to win this belt.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we both have the power to knock people out. So a knockout or a stoppage is very possible, 100%. It comes down to, I suppose, our conditioning and our heart to see if it goes the 10 rounds. And if it does go the 10 rounds, I tell you what, it's going to be fucking exciting 10 rounds. Very exciting 10 rounds because I know how we both.
Shout out to our Sky viewers as well for that language.
I didn't know that Sky.
Did you cut that by then? Okay.
Sorry.
Still going. Okay, yeah. That's all right. Don't worry. I just lost my contract. That's fine. On a serious note, don't worry. I do it all the time. I've done much worse. Shannon, you expect this to be? Have you got to be careful? You know, are your team saying to you, "Don't fight off emotion here"? You know, is there a game plan to follow? You have to be disciplined. We're only at Thursday. Things are going to be spicy, getting spicier. Do you have to control those emotions on Saturday night?
I've just got a cool, calm, collected head, you know. We've had the game plan since day one of this fight. I've got the best team behind me, keeping me nice and calm. My game plan is my game plan. We've stuck to it in sparring. It's worked beautifully, and it's going to work even better on Saturday night.
Final question for both of you. With your profile, with what you've done, Australian boxing absolutely flying. Yeah. You win on Saturday night, you really become a superstar in women's boxing. Yeah. Massive opportunity in your
100%.
life.
I truly believe that. I truly believe if I win this, I become a superstar. I feel like if Shannon wins it, she's kind of still Shannon. She still has to beat Rachel Ball. She's a world champion, but I just think it's a little bit of a different thing. But I'm not letting all that pressure or anything like kind of get to me. But I'm very excited to be that person and to be a new face and a new character in women's boxing, for sure.
And Shannon, same question to you. You know, you've seen Katie Taylor do it, Savannah Marshall do it, Chantel Cameron do it. You could become a world champion on Saturday. And as you said, change your life. Rematch with Rachel Ball, of course, is one everyone wants to see. But unification fights, just massive opportunities at domestic level and worldwide as well.
Yeah, this fight isn't my Everest. This is just a start for me. You know, win the world title, join the names the likes of Savannah Marshall, Katie Taylor, Terry Harper. I should be another woman and another British woman to her world title. And I want to bring another world title home to Britain. We've done it. We saw it with Lawrence Coley a few weeks ago, and I want to be the next one.
Absolutely. Well, special shout out to Terry Harper because I missed her out, one of my favourite fighters out there. So I cannot wait. I'm so excited for you both because the belt goes in the air on Saturday night and one of you will be crowned world champion on Saturday night. Good luck. We'll have a head-to-head up here, please.
Light work!
Obviously, it is fight week. Emotions are running high. Apologies if any of the language caused offence there. Ebony's going to come and join us live on the stream. Ebony, we are live, so please, I'll just ask you just stand on that mark there, that faint mark on the floor there. Mind games is a big thing. How much of this is you trying to get under Shannon Courtenay's skin?
None of it, really. I'm just being me, man. I'm not trying. I don't need to try. I'm just being me like I always am. And, I mean, if it gets under her skin, cool for me. If it doesn't...
Maybe I should rephrase it. Do you think you are getting under her skin?
I think so, a little bit. I mean, I feel like it, but you never know. I don't know.
The truth will be when the first bell rings. How confident are you that when it does, that you've got the skill set, the technique, the hunger to become world champion on Saturday?
Extremely confident. Simple. Extremely confident.
Fighters on fight week particularly keep their cards close to their chest and they won't give anything away game plan wise, so I won't sort of push you on that. But how do you see this fight going? Maybe more of a question, how do you think she will approach it?
I think she will try. I think she'll try and outbox me, but I don't think she has really the skills to outbox me with my style. You know, you have to be really a skilled boxer to do that, and I just don't think she has that. But if she goes to 6 toe-to-toe with me, then it's going to be very exciting, and I wish her very good luck because she's going to need it.
It has added an extra bit of spice and a dynamic to this fight. Winning is all that matters, but do you want to win this fight by stoppage? Has it added that little bit of motivation for you to get this done with a statement in emphatic style?
Definitely, you know, always winning by a stoppage and KO is always like a secure win, especially being on our foreign soils, you know, in England, in, you know, British judges or whatever. I think getting a stoppage is definitely, for me, would cement it. But going the distance, you know, you just don't know. You're going to leave it in someone else's hands, and I don't really want to do that.
Forgive me for my limited knowledge on the women's boxing scene in Australia. What would this mean from a general oversight, like overview, to take that belt home? What would that mean to women's boxing in Australia, not just to yourself?
Yeah, huge. I think it will actually put women's boxing on the map in Australia, like women's boxing, definitely. Because I don't know how many female fighters you know from Australia in the last 20 years, but there's quite a few, and I don't reckon you could name many. So I think, you know, just the fact that I'm here is already putting Australian women's boxing on the map. If I win, it's going to make it even better.
Will you give us a prediction?
And a very exciting fight. Tune in so you can find out.
Thank you very much. Go well. Adam, come join me. You know, Ebanie isn't lying. There is a danger that this is sort of stealing the show. All of the talk is about this fight.
It's fantastic, isn't it? Bit of needle, bit of spice, a lot of build-up. Both of them are, you know, they're pretty inexperienced, and they've got this opportunity of becoming on Saturday night. Here he is. Good, eh?
I know, yeah.
Can't wait for this.
I was panicking. You were loving it, obviously.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Because, you know, I think for a long time, females in women's boxing have said, you know, we want to sell ourselves because of the way we fight, because of the product. And Ebanie Bridges says, well, I'm proud of the way I look, and I'm going to spice things up a little bit. So I think you have to admire that. It's her choice. She's not doing it because she's been told to do it. That's what her individual choice is, to build her profile like that. She can fight. Both inexperienced. You know, truth be told, this is a good example of where sometimes it's a little bit easier to win world titles at lower divisions in women's boxing because of the depth. You get to a point, you're 5-6-0, it's time. You know, and Ebanie's quite inexperienced. Shannon's got more experience, even though she hasn't got much, mainly because of the Rachel Ball defeat. So, you know, shout out to Rachel Ball. We're hoping that she's recovering from COVID. She should fight the winner of this fight. And if that's Shannon, it will be a tremendous rematch. And if it's Ebanie, that's another big fight as well. But like I said, 10-2s, 20 minutes, belt goes in the air. It's over to you. It's exciting. See you in a bit.
See you in a bit. Okay, you can see. Sorry, I mean, he leaves me speechless a lot of the time. Let's get back over to the main man, Eddie Hearn. He is with Maria Lindberg and Savannah Marshall.
Well, the second of our World Championship fights this Saturday night, and I'm so pleased we're even sitting here. Savannah Marshall against Maria Lindberg, and the story of this fight, as you know, Savannah Marshall was due to defend her WBO middleweight title against Femke Hermans. Femke Hermans' trainer and boyfriend tested positive for COVID. She had to isolate. We got the news on Monday. We scoured the world looking for a replacement, and I slid into the DMs of Maria Lindberg, I think on Tuesday or something like that, and somehow we got this fight done. Firstly, I want to say thank you, Savannah, for staying patient, believing in us. Thank you for Maria for taking this opportunity. Fantastic. Savannah, I'll start with you. Obviously, you've had some ups and downs over this sort of COVID period. You know, Peter Fury tested positive. You had a delayed fight. You went on to win the rescheduled fight for the world title. Hermans, you were looking forward to. Obviously, that fell through. Must have thought to yourself, will I actually get an opponent? But great news. You're ready to go in a very important fight for you on Saturday.
Yeah, 100%. If anything, I think it's a tougher fight than the original fight. Maria's very experienced. Tough. She's been in with some of the best in the world. Christina Hammer twice, 4-time world title challenger. So I'm expecting a tough fight come Saturday. Like I said, I think it's a harder fight than the original fight.
That's what we want, though, isn't it? You know, I messaged you last night, and you said to me, "This is a tough fight." She's teak tough, is the words that you used, and you know, we want those fights, don't we? Everybody's, of course, crying out for the Clarissa Shields fight. I think that's a conversation to be had on Sunday or Monday, but you want to test yourself. You breezed through Hannah Rankin for the world title. You want to prepare yourself for those kind of huge undisputed fights, and this will be a really good, solid test to see where you're at.
100%. Look, I've had a 12-week camp, so I've prepared for everything. Whatever Maria brings, I'm more than confident I've got an answer for.
Maria, welcome and thank you. It was an amazing experience dealing with you on Instagram. I've got to say, you're one of the most professional and organised fighters we've ever worked with. Every problem, as I said to you, we can overcome all these problems. Bit of studying, I think, for your college stuff. I know you got your personal training and your fighting career as well, but you're in tremendous shape, as you always are. And as Savannah says, this is, she believes, the toughest test of her career so far.
Yeah, I think so too, definitely. Unfortunately, it was so sudden and so not that much time, of course. But I'm more or less always in training, so I'm prepared. It's a new experience for me. I never took on a fight with that short notice, but there's a first time for everything. So I'm excited. I'm looking forward to Saturday. I'm definitely ready.
You've fought some outstanding fighters. 4 times you've challenged for the world title. Of course, Christina Hammer twice as well. You have tremendous experience in the professional ranks. Obviously, short preparation, but if there's one thing you do have on Savannah Marshall, it's a lot of experience at professional levels. Fantastic amateur career as well, but quite limited in the pros. We expect that you've got to use that to your advantage. We know as well you're extremely tough. Is that going to be one of their attributes to try and win this fight, is to make it tough for Savannah Marshall and push the pace as hard as you can?
Yeah, like you said, I'm more experienced as a professional. I think I have 3 times more professional fights than Savannah. And like you said, many title fights. I fought some really, really good fighters. So the experience is definitely on my side when it's come to this fight. And yeah, I have my style. And I know if you look at my fights, you know how I'm fighting. And that's what I do good. And I think that's the way I'm going to make it hard for Savannah on Saturday.
Well, thank you again, Maria, for being here. And I did say we wouldn't talk about Clarissa Shields, but I do have to just ask the one question, because I know the media, you know, I know that, you know, she calls out the fight. We're talking to her team as well. Is that the ultimate goal for you? I guess that's the biggest fight in boxing for both of you. And I know it's always dangerous to look past such a good opponent on Saturday, but ultimately that's almost the top of the mountain in the sport, isn't it, to become undisputed champion?
100%. I think every boxer dreams to be the undisputed champion. And I do believe that is the biggest fight in female boxing. But like you said at the minute, no disrespect to Maria, and I can't look past her.
Well, we expect a great fight. Savannah Marshall against Maria Lindberg for the WBO World Middleweight Championship this Saturday. If we can have a head-to-head up here, please.
Maria, lovely to meet you. If you could just stand on that mark on the floor there. I just want to ask you, we have a phrase in English, opportunity knocks. I don't know if it translates to Swedish, but it's if you're ready and the opportunity comes, if you take it, you could change your life. Is that how you see this fight with Savannah Marshall?
Yeah, it is, definitely. I mean, I had those kind of offers before with short notice, but I never did it. And I always regret it afterwards. And this time I said, no, I'm going to do it. And hopefully it's going to be my day on Saturday.
What was your reaction when you see new message on Instagram and it's Eddie Hearn? I mean, I can only imagine what was going through your mind at the time.
Yeah, I realized immediately that, okay, here is something big, something is urgent, and something is... and I was like, okay, let's see. And I got the offer, and I was like, oh my God. because I know what it means, what kind of stress to take on a fight with that short notice, and you have a million things that you have to take care of and leave, and especially in these days with COVID and everything. So but again, last time I regretted it, and I said, okay, next time when something comes, I'm just going to do it. Close my eye and jump, and I did. So I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, and we're very, very glad that you made that decision. How do you beat Savannah Marshall? It's $1 million question. What do you think you have to do to beat her?
I have to use my strengths. I mean, I'm a good infighter. I'm moving forward all the time. But okay, Savannah Marshall she's good. She's good in distance. She's good in infighting too. What's rare with that big opponent, because Christina Hammer, for example, that I fought, she's not good in infighting, but Savannah is also good in infighting, and we will see. I don't have a plan because I just found out that I'm fighting, but I will have a plan on Saturday. Promise.
We'll see you in the dinner hall making some plans, and we'll quiz you on them. Thank you very much for joining us. Go well, best of luck. Adam, I'm just going to ask you to step into the void. Boxing is littered with stories like that people come in at late notice. There is very little
Steve
pressure.
Robinson,
yeah,
Cinderella Man.
I mean, there is
36 hours notice.
Very little pressure on Maria Lindberg's shoulders. She will have internal pressures that she wants to win. She wants to beat Savannah Marshall. But that was quite refreshing to hear her speak so openly about the challenges that she is going to face and the decision-making process that went through her mind.
She speaks well, doesn't she? Very experienced and, 4-time world title challenger, and terrific, and well done to Eddie Hearn and his team for getting such a good replacement at this short notice. Savannah Marshall's had her ups and downs. We know about that. We talked about it earlier. We know her when she was a scholar with us, in the amateurs and in the pros. She's signed with Floyd Mayweather. First of all, her debut was in Vegas, and she's been through it, and she teamed up with McKenzie, and now she's with Peter Fury and Matchroom, and she's experienced a lot of difficulties to deal with. What went right for her was her world title fight against Hannah Rankin, and so she brings all that confidence now into her. And
I have to say, I think whether or not that was caught on camera, I'm waiting for my camera. He's nodding. Yeah, there is a step to make your way on stage. Eddie Hearn. No, I know. Eddie Hearn stacked it on the way to the stage earlier, and it's just happened again. So I think.
He's a tough guy.
I can see that Matchroom is still talking to Savannah Marshall, so I've got a little bit more time.
Yeah.
This is the first time you've had a chance to look at both fighters. Set this one up for us before we get to the press conference.
Yeah, I saw Conor a few weeks ago and had a good catch up with him actually, and he's in immaculate shape as he always is. But Vargas looks well to me. Looks very.
Well, here we go.
chiseled
The
and
main
well.
event, the WBA Continental Welterweight Championship, an absolutely cracking fight between Conor Benn and Samuel Vargas that was just actually complaining about the mural of himself over there that apparently doesn't really look like him. I'm sorry about that. I'll speak to the artist later and reprimand him. Okay. This is such a fantastic fight, a huge step up for Conor Benn. When you look at the resume of Samuel Vargas and the level of opposition he's been in with. Conor, I just said to you there off microphone, you look fantastic. You look bang on the weight, ready to go. This is a fight to be really excited about.
Oh, I mean, definitely. This is definitely one for the fans. I mean, I'm chomping at the bit. Do you know what I mean? It's a fight I've been calling for a long time now. And this is another fight where I get to show my levels, my experience. I mean, you can judge me on my last performance, the performance before that, but I'm always improving. I'm always evolving, learning from previous fights. Mistakes that I've made, I'm always growing, working hard. And this is the sort of fight where, I really do show my levels and show what I'm capable of. Again, we don't know the ceiling to my career. We don't know, where the limit is, because I come into this game raw. I come into this game naive, and, there was so much to learn, but I'm learning. And, I plan on displaying all of that come Saturday night.
We know it's never friendly for you, and although there's no animosity with Samuel Vargas, I quite get the feeling that, you may not want to say it now, but you like the way this guy fights. And that's one of the reasons. You've been asking me for this fight for about a year now. You felt that this fight would gel into a fantastic fight. And let's be honest, you're both going to get stuck in on Saturday night. This is going to be non-stop action from the first.
Yeah, that's without question, mate. I mean, if you watch Vargas fights, I mean, he comes and he brings it. And, so do I. And that's what I love about a fight. Of course, he's tested at a higher level. And, of course, he's got experience on me. But everyone I fight moving forward is going to have experience on me. I'll always go into the fight the less experienced fighter because of my lack of amateur background, because I'm only 24. And people will question that, and it's my job to prove them wrong. and it's my job to get in there and do a number on him Saturday night. But you know, it's going to be my hardest night's work. Of course it is. I know what he brings. He's a tough South American who loves to fight, fights with his heart on his sleeve. You've got to give him credit where it's deserved, and you know, credit where it's due, and I do.
We know that you've always done big numbers, whether it's the viewing figures, whether it's across social media, but do you feel now as well, you're emerging now, we talk about future stars of British sport, not just the fact that you're a name because of who your old man was, but as a fighter, you are really at the top of that new crop coming through. This fight can take you to even a whole nother level. We know there's still a long journey to go as well, but when you talk about big standout British boxing stars, you are right at the top of the tree, and a good performance on Saturday can really cement that position.
Yeah, I mean, I keep getting asked now about, you know, other fights. Oh, what about X, Y, Z when you get through? But listen, I've made the mistake once in my career of, you know, looking past opponents. And you know what happened? I hit the deck twice, and it turned out my hardest night's work in my career. So, you know, don't get me wrong. I'm fully focused on Vargas. Fully focused on Vargas. I know what he brings. I know what he presents, and I know he's in there to win, and he's in there to you know, show me how it's done. But you know, I've been training hard for this fight. I've been working hard. I've been visualising this fight, and I'm ready to go, man. Whatever he brings, I'll match it. And you know, it's going to be at some stage of the fight a nice shoot at.
Sam, welcome back, mate, and Lee Baxter and your team as well. Pleasure to have you here. You gave us one of the scariest moments against Amir Khan. I saw an interview saying you wish you would have jumped on him a little bit more in that fight. It was a knockdown at the end of the first round. I just remember that moment. I was sitting there. I had Amir Khan's dad on my right, and you just put him on his backside, and I just felt an arm on my leg as if to go, oh! You know, the whole arena that night couldn't believe it. And that was a great fight against Amir Khan. You're ready now to take advantage of this opportunity. We know you're always in tremendous shape. You're ready to go on Saturday.
Yeah, man, I'm blessed. You know, I'm happy I had a good training camp. That night in particular, it was like a bittersweet. You know, I came so close, but, you know, it wasn't meant to be that night. I feel like everything has fallen into place for me to have a great show Saturday night. I put my heart and soul into this training camp, working with Bones Adams. Had lots of rounds of experience, lots of rounds in the gym, and I'm really excited to get here. First time I meet Conor, I see him in person. And, yeah, the moment is here, and it's time.
I know you and Bones will study Conor Benn. I guess the big, you know, defining factor here for you, guess, in your opinion, from your team, could be the level of experience in this fight. Of course, your losses have come right at the elite level. You know, Errol Spence, Danny Garcia, Collazo, Amir Khan. This is a young man that may have the ability to get to those kind of levels. But when you think about, and even last time out, you know, against Virgil Ortiz, you know, another guy that's ready to fight for world titles. Do you look at Conor Benn and think this might be a little bit too early, this kind of level for him?
I don't really compare him, or I was 24 once. I was young. I was at that age once upon a time, and when I look at myself then, I look at myself now, I just laugh at myself, to be honest. But you'll see that for yourself. I mean. I just think I bring too much. I'm going to bring too much in the ring for him. Yeah, I do.
And he's very exciting to watch in a fight. He loves to stand and trade. He loves to get involved, never in a dull fight. Very similar to yourself as well. Is that what the fans should expect on Saturday night?
Yeah,
I mean, I know you'll have a game plan, but ultimately, you know, we expect fireworks on Saturday.
It's kind of sad we didn't have fans in the venue. I was actually looking forward to having a lot of fans. I think I messaged you, actually. Because it would have been, even though a lot of them have been booing for me, it would have been a great energy, because you need that energy. And the fans here in London, I have a lot of love and support, so which I'm thankful for. And yeah, this is a fan-friendly fight. You know, he fights, I fight my ass off. I fight for my family, for everything I have, for desire to win and desire to become better and be better at life and boxing. And so there's so many motives I have to fight for.
Just finally as well, important in this fight, we know that you're a guy that's sometimes taking opportunity at late notice as well. Great camp for this fight. Plenty of notice for you and your team. You know, it's a fight that we've talked about probably for the last year, but obviously with COVID restrictions, so you're in top shape. No excuses going into this fight.
Absolutely no. I never make no excuses. Even in my loss, I never make no excuses. It's just I always work my ass off in every training camp. Take it. This one in particular, even I haven't seen my family or Lee or anybody in like 2 months. Everyone just keeps telling me how focused and driven I am, because literally that's all I did. There was nothing else to do but boxing and study and know myself and know the enemy and just do my job.
Conor, finally, this man, he's ready. It's going to be a hell of a fight on Saturday. This is a real test for you. We saw against Formella, he went into his shell after a couple of rounds once he felt the power and the intensity. This guy won't go into the shell. He'll be there as long as he's on his feet or before he gets taken out of this fight. This is going to be a real war for you and a massive test in your career.
Well, that's fine, but every time we've said it's a test, you know, I've passed with flying colours. You know, with Koivula, people were writing me off again. Oh, he's too experienced. Oh, he's this, he's that. And then what happened? And then Sebastian Formella step up again. Oh, you know, what happened? Do you know what I mean? I rise to the occasion, and I will rise to the occasion. I will make sure I match it. You know, Tone's trained me harder than ever before this camp. Ever. I mean, he's really pushed me, and I don't often go, I need a break. I've needed a few this camp. Do you know what I mean? And when you're talking about sacrifices, try 4 years. Do you know what I mean? And not being with your family. Try 5 years. You know, that's hard, mate. You know, that's really hard. And, you know, that's the only sacrifice I could, mate. Even me not being with my son now, I'm thinking, how much have I got to flipping sacrifice? You know, family. Why has it always got to be family? Why could it not be something...
It's not my fault, mate.
No. I'm looking at you like...
No, it's false.
No, I'm not looking at
you chose to do it.
No, you're right. Listen, I ain't sticking out in your head.
It's like when you spin the chair and start doing that, it's like... I'm looking at this geezer over here going, mate, hurry up over it.
No, but it's hard, though, you know. Even my little son now, baby Eli, we only had a few days off when he was born to just actually spend time with him. But obviously your mind's and emotions still on the fight. I was still really focused on the fight. Even when I'm holding him, I'm thinking about the fight. I'm twitching in my sleep about the fight. You know, the late night feeds, I'm thinking about the fight. So it's going to be nice after this fight to get this fight out of the way so I can just sit down and emotionally relax with my family. My new family as me being a dad.
Well,
So-
I respect what you say. I just don't believe you were doing the late night feeds, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah, mate, you're right. It sounded good,
I
didn't
know,
it?
you were. It sounded,
Sounded
good.
good.
Though. Yeah, it did. Yeah. Guys, cannot wait for this fight on Saturday night. This is two great fighters, a real veteran, if you like. Sorry, don't mind me using that word, in Samuel Vargas. Hugely experienced, tough, always comes to fight. And I believe, you know, one of the biggest rising young names, not just in British boxing, but world boxing, in Conor Benn. This is going to be an absolute firefight on Saturday night, live on Sky Sports in the UK, live on DAZN around the world. Don't miss it. Gentlemen, if we could have a head-to-head here, please. Good stuff.
There's confusion there. Conor, great to speak to you on Fight. We always sort of enjoy these chats because we're privileged to speak to you this close to the fight. You sound like you're ready to go now. Sound like you're in a very good mind space, particularly this close to the fight.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm chopping at the bite. Do you know what I mean? I'm ready to go now. And I've been ready to go for a long time. You know, these are fights I thrive off. This is a risk. This is a challenge, and I thrive off a challenge. Anything that presents itself. You know, this is a big test for me, a big step up. When you're looking at records and who he's been in with, can I do a better job? You know, of course it's about getting the win, but can I do a better job than Amir Khan? You know, Virgil Ortiz, Danny Garcia, Errol Spence, Luis Collazo. You've got all these fighters he's mixed it with. And as I said, when you beat a fighter, you not only just beat a fight, you gain their experience. And this is a massive stepping stone in my career.
I hope you don't mind. I don't want to sort of get into he said this, he said that. One of the things that Samuel said to us yesterday in the interview was that he sees doubt in your eyes. That one of the things that he picked up on is that you say these things to try and reinforce your own belief that you may have doubts, that you may have a lack of confidence. What do you respond to that?
Nah, of course not. I mean, I work too hard to not be confident. Do you know what I mean? You have doubt. As your career, you progress, you make mistakes. The playing hard fight. Of course I had doubt after that fight. You're bound to have doubt after fights like that. When you've had bad nights in the office, you think, "Core, am I ready? Am I ready?" I'm a different man now. Do you know what I mean? You learn about yourself, you grow, you evolve. You know, you have to have these doubts, you have to have these fears, you have to have nerves. But when you look based on my performances, they never done me no harm. They never done me no harm. Having these nerves, having these worries, the what ifs, yeah, no problem. Do you know what I mean? It's always a risk when I get in there. Don't mean I doubt my ability at all. You know, I'm thriving off the competition. Ultimately, the person in the other corner can think what he wants. You know, because what, do I talk a good game? Of course I talk a good game, but I back it up every single time. You know, they can think what they want. It ain't going to make no difference when we get in there come fight night. What I think, whether I think he's ready, whether he thinks I'm ready, whether he thinks I'm scared, or whether it don't really matter, because when we meet there, it ain't about none of that. So we let our fists do the talking.
Just one final thing, the word sacrifice was used a lot up there, and it's something that you've mentioned to us in the past, the sacrifices. Is it worth it? Is the counter-argument to that, is that not what separates you from the rest of us, that you are prepared to make these sacrifices, even at the young age of 24, that in the end, those sacrifices will be worth it? And that is something that Samuel Vargas touched on I fight for everything that I have. I just wonder if that's something that you can relate to, and those sacrifices, they obviously play on your mind.
Yeah, of course they do, because you make sacrifices to get ahead. You hope them sacrifices pay off. Do you know what I mean? They have to pay off. Otherwise, the sacrifice is a waste of time. Me not being with my family for 4 or 5 years, you know, it's hard. Me now not being able with my family to see my little son Eli, it's hard. Do you know what I mean? I think, well, I wouldn't have that problem if I was over there. You know, so of course it is. You've got to make sacrifices to get ahead in life, though. He's saying he ain't seen his family for however long, 2 months. Try 5 years, mate. Try not seeing all your family all at once, and then having to start your own family without being with your immediate family, them not knowing the granddad, uncles and aunties. That's hard, mate.
Just, I said that was finally, but in terms of one final thought on the fight and what we can expect, everything points towards a war. All roads lead to you two meeting in the centre of the ring. Is this just a bluff, though? Are you going to try and box? Or does that depend on what he does as well?
Hey, man, don't worry about what he does. You know, his record, he's fought so many times now, there ain't going to be much adaptation or much change. He's going to come and bring the heat like he always does, and I'll do what I've got to do to win. I'll find a way to win. Whatever it is, I'll match it. Do you know what I mean? It don't really faze me. I'll match whatever he brings, and I will better.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your day. We will catch up with you hopefully tomorrow. It's weigh-in day though, so I don't want to be this close to you. But
after the food we can have a chat. I might be emotional beforehand. We don't want that again, do we?
No. I feel like you attribute some blame on me with that one, so I'm going to leave you to it. I'll do a sort of squad rotation here. If we can get Samuel Vargas over, I think he's FaceTiming some friends. Samuel, are you live on FaceTime as well? We're live on Sky Sports, so I don't. Well, do I ask who is on FaceTime? Is it family and friends?
No, it's my girl.
Oh, hello. You're live on Sky Sports. I hope you don't mind. I feel like I'm intruding now.
No, we're cool, man.
I mean, that leads us to my first question. You talk about sacrifice. There is that sort of phrase, you know, nothing comes easy. The sacrifices that you've had to make to be away from family, friends, will it all be worth it on Saturday night? You can change your career path against Conor Benn on Saturday.
Yeah, absolutely, man. First time I met him, seen him in person. You know, I was always wondering what it was going to be like, how it was going to feel like. And it felt good, man. It felt good. I'm happy to be here. The moment's here. I see him in person. I took a few notes, a couple of things, and I feel good, man. I had a great training camp and confident.
You do see, one of the things he does is he speaks a lot to try and give himself confidence. Now you've looked into his eyes there, do you see any weaknesses?
Listen, man, I can't. That's something I'll answer after the fight. You know what I mean? It's just to give you a better answer. But yeah, this is the person he is. I guess he just talks a lot. He almost got into it with Eddie in the middle of the interview. So that's just how he is. You know what I'm saying? I guess so.
He also said, I mean, Eddie Hearn sort of hammed it up a little bit, but he also said that this fight, that you two are going to meet in the centre of the ring, that you aren't going to have to go looking for each other. Can you make it into a boxing match if you choose to do? He said it's not about what you do, he's going to dictate, but can you make it into a boxing match? And if it is a boxing match, do you believe you've got the skill set to outbox him?
I see him being a really exciting fight. I don't think he's gonna run. I don't think I'm gonna run. I know I'm not gonna run. And if I were to turn it into a boxing fight, I can definitely box better than him.
And if it is a firefight, can you fight better than him?
Oh, definitely. That's for sure. That's a given. I know I can.
Just you've done these bubbles before. You've boxed in front of no fans, and look, I have to be honest, it's killing all of us for broadcasters as well, but it's something that we have to do. But it was nice to hear you say there that the lack of energy from the fans is something that we're all missing. How do you counteract that? I mean, I've heard fighters before say, look, actually when the first bell rings, it's just me and him, you don't notice the crowd, but you obviously do because you've mentioned it.
No, definitely. The crowd brings, I was even saying in an interview, the crowd brings energy. Whether they're booing for you or cheering for you, you need that to fight off of what you have. It makes you quicker, makes you faster, makes you nervous. I feel like it takes away from boxing in a way of having not crowds. But to be honest, I can't complain. You know, we're doing what we love. We're fighting, we're boxing. Yes, we're in a bubble, but I mean, we all have jobs. We're doing what we love. You, me, my trainer, my promoters are working. So, you know, you still feel blessed.
Yeah, I'm not complaining. It's just the lack of tea and coffee. That's what I'm worried about. Just final one. He said yesterday that he's very confident that he's going to win, but he does believe he can knock you out. Do you believe, in your heart of hearts, if you flip that you can knock him out, that you can win this fight inside the distance? Can you win it on points, or do you have to knock him out to win?
This fight, I have this sort of sense of like peace, like I don't see him hurting me, or I can see him getting tricky and awkward, but I don't see how he can knock me out. Like, no, this is not happening. It's never been a thought in my head or a threat. And can I stop him? Yes, absolutely. I can break him down, poke him until he breaks. Definitely.
Thank you very much for joining us. I feel like I should say goodbye on the phone as well. Thank you very much for being part of our interview. See you later. I don't know if I don't know what graphic to put up there, but thank you very much. I appreciate you giving us your time, and please enjoy speaking to home. Adam, come on in. Have you got anyone on FaceTime, Adam, that we can talk to while you're here? Yeah, Clarence, do you mind me asking you first off about the shoulder? Is that something you can talk about on camera? So, well, for the first time, we saw a one-armed pad man. You doing the pads one-armed is something that some people, if they tune into our social media, they're going to see it. Are you okay? You're obviously the full story is you've undergone surgery. Just tell us the whole story if you can.
You know what? I had to have surgery twice. The first time, because I was in snowboarding. I fell improperly is basically what happened. So it crushed my shoulder in 2 different places, my collarbone. So they went in and replaced it, and it was coming up, and then again, like, I don't know if it's a swelling or whatever else, it's the same thing happening again. I had to do it again. You can just see, I don't know if you can see through that. That's the metal rod. So. Wow.
So when did that happen? I mean, I'm gathering by what you told us, the surgery to then getting on the plane was very, very quick.
Well, my first surgery, it was like February 20th when it happened. My first surgery was probably like beginning of March. Then I just had surgery, I think it was Wednesday, and I left Thursday for here.
I'm off camera, but I'm sweating here. You're making me very, very nervous. I mean, the obvious question is, it's not ideal preparation once you're here to be doing the pads with one arm, but you look like it's something that you have done before. You and Sammy seem to have a very good routine, a pad routine, one-arm pad routine there.
Well, you know what, there's a lot of things I say, especially to these fighters, is that one main thing is this. A good fighter will hit you with both hands. A great fighter only needs one. So that goes back on me as well. You know what I'm saying? As a trainer, because honestly though, how many heads do you have? You have one head. You have one, and I even before, that's why I was so natural with it, because you just use one hand for everything. I usually do anyways, or I try to anyways. And a lot of these guys hit hard, like Amir and everything, with their left hook, and I had a bad left shoulder as it is anyways. It dislocated twice. So I always use one anyways.
Can I just ask you on the fight, obviously you will have heard all the talk now, and the talking is nearly over, and the talking is just that, it is just talk. Just let us in, if you will, just a little bit into the window and in the mind of what you two are planning. What sort of fight can we expect from Samuel Vargas?
Well, my whole deal with Samuel, I wish I had him years ago, because, man, he's tough as hell. I mean, I can't see Conor knocking him out. I don't see it. He got injured the last fight with Ortiz. That's the only reason it stopped us. And it was our first time to been together. Now we've grown together, we've been together, he's doing a lot of things differently that he didn't do, and that's just going to make the big difference in the fight. And I think it's going to be toe-to-toe.
What do you make of Conor Benn's progress so far? Have you seen areas of his game that you feel that you two can exploit?
You know what? Yes, that fight, that grit a bit, like just like he's ready to fight. That's what we're going to explore. Because that's what he's weak in. He's weak there. He just has too much pride, too much heart.
Brilliant. Well, you two have all set it up perfectly. Thank you very much for joining us. Please take it easy with the shoulder. Please. Adam Smith, come and finish this off for us. What a stream this has been. I don't quite know where we're going next. Everybody's saying the right things. What are the main things that you take away from today's press conference, particularly the two main event fights we just spoke to there?
Isn't it wonderful how many characters we have in this sport? It's fantastic, isn't it? Incredible. Terrific bunch, terrific pot ahead of Saturday night, and some really great fights. Can't wait for the Farooq fight. I think obviously Shannon Courtenay and Ebanie Bridges they're in many ways they're trying to steal the show. Savannah Marshall, after that great performance last year, I think she's really got to make a statement here. Clarissa Shields will be watching from afar, and of course the main event. It's a great fight. They both love that. They both love the heart-to-heart, sort of toe-to-toe trench warfare. They both can get sucked in. Vargas loves it. Conor Benn loves it. We've seen that, but we've also seen an intelligence in Conor Benn's development, a maturity, which sort of goes side by side with becoming a dad, with settling down a bit, with getting used to the fact that most of his family are out in Australia. And I just think that if he uses his head in this, if he uses his smarts, his intelligence, listens to Tony, then he can eke out what will be a career best win. He never lost the big fights, but he'll be a threat for every second he's in there. But I think Conor Benn knows that, and I think Conor Benn will try and control things more sensibly behind his jab. The question is whether Vargas can spark a fire in him and Benn goes in with him, and then who knows what happens.
Just finally, one name we haven't mentioned all week is Tony Sims. His stable is thriving at the moment, and success breeds success. Obviously, he's coming off that great trip to Gibraltar with Ted Cheeseman, one of the fights of the year, if not the fight of the year so far. We spoke about the natural partnership of Savannah Marshall and Peter Fury. Don't often talk about the natural partnership of Tony Sims and Conor Benn. They just seem to go together. Tony Sims even sparred Conor Benn's dad, Nigel. Boxing is just one full circle always, but those two together, we keep saying how much Conor has progressed, but a lot of that is down to Tony Sims as well. They're a great partnership.
I can just hear Ebanie Bridges in the background. She's still talking. It's great. If she fights like she talks, and Shannon Courtenay's in for a hell of a night on Saturday. It's a good fight. Back to Tony Sims. I think Tony Sims is one of the most underrated. He's so unassuming. When you spend time with him, he is absolutely knowledgeable. He has got so much experience in this sport. He's got a fantastic stable now. He cares about his fighters. He's a brilliant tutor, mentally, physically. Look what Ted Cheeseman's been through in and out of the ring. And look at that performance the other night in what I think was the best fight of the year so far. Fantastic. Great win for Ted Cheeseman. That will just have given him and all the camp, Martin J. Warder, Ricky Burns and all the team, all the stable, some real belief ahead of this. And Conor and Tony have a special relationship, forged of course by Nigel before, but it's Tony that's guiding Conor. Nigel from afar, he'll be the one shouting and screaming, get emotional, but it's Tony that he'll listen to. I think it's a terrific partnership, and I think it could become a very important one as he moves on towards the real world scene. Let's see how they gel on Saturday night, because I think they will again.
Adam, thank you very much. As always, thank you to you guys at home for watching. The weigh-in tomorrow, wherever you consumed this stream today, come back to the same place tomorrow. 1 o'clock is the time you want to set the alarm on your phone, put the date in your diary. 1 o'clock tomorrow, the weigh-in for Benn Vargas, and we can't wait.